Welcome to HGTV Handmade's Style Scientist. My name is Kiva Brent, and in today's video, we are talking about those eyesores. Aren't there parts of your home you can't do anything about them, but they are so ugly? Well, we're actually coming up with some pretty solutions for those ugly home furnishings. If that seems up your alley, please don't forget to subscribe to HGTV Handmade, but let's get started with this episode of Style Scientist. Whether it is the television cable or the computer cable, cables can be so frustrating because they are such eyesores, right? They're going every which direction. You're trying to stare at the TV, you're trying to look at a piece of art, but all you can see is those cords kind of jumbled up on the floor. What I want you to start using is actually using a cord cover. So instead of having those cables jumbled up, you can actually have them really neatly tucked into this cord cover that just blends into the wall. You always want to pair these cord covers with a really nice and long heavy-duty surge protector. Instead of using plugs all over the room, you can just put everything in one surge protector and tuck them really nicely behind your console. So thermostats and light switches, we're not gonna get rid of them. We need them to really function in our homes because we need to turn on the air conditioning or the heat, and we want to be able to see. So what I actually want you to do is try to work these fixtures into your design. So if you have a light switch in a hallway, why don't you work the light switch into a gallery wall, right? So the light switch is the last thing that you notice. So the thermostat is the last thing that you notice because you're distracted by all of the pretty artwork and decorative accents that you actually have up on those walls. Now, if working your light switch or thermostat into a piece of art just isn't practical for you, you can paint them so that they match your wall, and you can also add ones that have really fun details. You can put peel and stick wallpaper on there. There are so many different little hacks you can do to take them to the very next level and just make them pop. Televisions can be quite the eyesore. Sure, now they're nice and sleek, so they blend into the wall, but people don't quite know what to do around a television. Well, to make your television blend in more, work it into a gallery wall or just work it into whatever you have going on your wall. Don't be afraid to use that television wall for other things. You can add decor there, you can add books there, you can add shelving there. Now, if you want your television to not look like a television, you can also put a frame around it. Then draw a piece of art yourself or get your cousin or your child to draw a piece of art, upload it to your TV, and then you actually have a television that looks like a piece of art even though it is a television. If you actually combine both of these tips together, I promise you that wall is going to look fantastic and the television is going to be an afterthought and everyone's just going to think it is a piece of art and your otherwise beautifully styled wall. Next, we have to talk about the infamous Boob Light. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically like an upside down dome light. They're very common in entryways and bedrooms, and it is very dated. So with these light fixtures, of course you can swap them out for another light fixture, but that isn't always the most easy thing, and it can be pricey if you have to buy a brand new light fixture. What you can actually do is put a shade around the Boob Light. So it's really easy to do. You just get up there with some screws and you're able to change it completely. It will just help diffuse the light a little bit more, and it will kind of stop you from saying, oh, this part of the house is really dated. It will make it look a lot more contemporary and seamless with all the other updates you've made to your space. Now, this is one of my favorite hacks. Wire shelves are very common these days, especially in laundry rooms and pantries. And I love a good wire shelf because they're very durable, but let's face it, they aren't the most aesthetically pleasing. So to make your wire shelves look a lot more sophisticated, you just need to add some shelf liners. They have tons of fun shelf liners with fun patterns. They have solid colors. They even have clear ones. One of my favorite things to do though is actually to pick up some plywood from your local hardware store and kind of fashion a wire shelf cover so that you actually get the nice wooden look in your pantry without having to buy an entirely new wood shelf. You can stain it any color, just choose a color that kind of works with the design style you have elsewhere in your home, and you get a really sophisticated look in a pantry, which can cost you an arm and a leg otherwise. I'm a firm believer that you should leave your kitchen looking like a kitchen, but sometimes we want some of our bigger appliances to blend in. So something you can do with your refrigerator is actually add a cabinet door to it so that you don't actually see the refrigerator. It just looks like a really big cabinet, or people would probably mistake it for a pantry. You can not only do this for your refrigerators, but you can do this for your dishwashers and for your microwaves. So if you are starting a new build, you can actually build in your appliances so that you never ever have have to see them and they're kind of an afterthought. All I'll say here is you have to remember where they are, or you're gonna be opening all of your cabinets trying to find a piece of food from your refrigerator, but it is a really nice and fun hack to do. Now, the biggest eyesore in any home is trash, right? Because sure, we accumulate a lot of trash, and trash cans, sure, they have prettier ones these days, but it's still a trash can. You're not gonna mistake it for anything else. So what you can actually do to hide your trash can is to actually install a sliding rack within one of your cabinets so that you can pull out your trash. This means that you're not using a precious floor space for a trash can, and you never have to see it. What I love about this is not something that you need to do upon building your kitchen. You can actually buy a lot of these kits to install a sliding track in any of your cabinets right now. This is going to give you so much of your kitchen space back. You're not going to be tripping over a trash can anymore, and it's going to elevate your home that much more. Now, we touched on televisions earlier, but we also have to talk about those remotes. Those remotes end up everywhere, and just about everything now requires a different remote. So you end up with like 5 or 6 remotes, and what do you do with them? Well, I actually want you to start putting them in decorative boxes. Decorative boxes are great for holding remotes because 1, you always know where they are. No more losing the remote in the couch cushion because it always goes in that decorative box. 2, it prevents you from having to look at that eyesore because they're all put away nicely in these decorative boxes. You can stack them, you can put them on trays, and so they double as a decorative accent and something functional. And if we can always get the use of something to be twofold, there is nothing better than that. Now let's talk about blinds. Blinds are so useful because they help filter light and they help us get some privacy. But sometimes our blinds can be really, really ugly. But that doesn't mean you should rip them down. They can be very costly, so definitely keep them up. Something you can do to jazz them up and actually give yourself another layer of protection is to put up some curtains. So what you will do is you will put the curtains on top of the blinds. So whereas your blinds are kind of within the window frame, your curtains will go on top of the window frame by at least 6 to 8 inches. So then you'll have the curtains kind of framing out that window. If you put them up correctly, they'll be nice and high and wide, so they'll actually make the room look larger. They will frame out the window and make it a focal point in the room. You will have a distraction from those blinds because you'll have pretty curtains that are either a nice color or a nice pattern. Now, if you really want to distract from those blinds with the curtains, and not just distract, but also cover up, you can add a layer of sheer curtains and then your blackout curtains or something else. So again, you're getting something functional and something that looks fantastic. That's it for today's video. We gave you some solutions for your ugly home furnishings. Just because they're parts of your home that you cannot get rid of, it doesn't mean that you can't make them look fantastic. There are tons of ways to upcycle these pieces, and let us know down in the comments, which one of these tips are you going to take? Have you already applied them? How did it turn out? If you enjoyed today's episode of Style Scientist, be sure to let us know down in the comments and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.